Change can be a very difficult process to deal with. However, change is inevitable. Because change is inevitable, businesses need to know how to manage the change well. If they cannot do so, this is why they hire change management experts to help carry out that process. Business change has happened over time periods, from the colonial era of plantation work to the industrial revolution where unions were formed, to the age of the industrial entrepreneur, to the production era of output of goods, to the marketing era and the relationship era. These are all examples of the organizational metaphors we will be discussing in this video. These organizational metaphors basically help to define ways in which change happen, who is responsible for the change, and the process it takes. These organizational metaphors created by Gareth Morgan, they govern corporate change. They include organizations as machines, organisms, brains, cultures, political systems, psychic prisms, flux and transformation, and instruments of domination. The four which we'll be discussing is organizations as machines, organisms, political systems, and flux and transformation. The machine metaphor emphasizes the orderly arrangement of who does what and who has authority over who. It is a mechanical type of thinking which is concerned with a clear hierarchy, responsibility, who has discipline, stability, and lines of authority, clear lines. As the name suggests, it works like a machine, such as a typewriter. And with a typewriter, you cannot skip over certain ways of how it functions because you'll end up with a mess or a malfunctioning piece of equipment. Essentially, there are consequences to resistance and deviance, as well as a sense of control in this metaphor. The problem with this metaphor is that in an organization, there are human beings, and human beings do not operate like machines. Persons in control cannot bring about change by being strict about policies and procedures. Rather, they have to be interactive and proactive and allow for employees to exercise their creativity and spontaneity. When examining the political system now, some may think it has to do with literal government policies. However, this metaphor is all about interest in a company, individual interests, management interests, departmental interests, and more. It can be autocratic, democratic, and anything in between. Politics in an organization is unavoidable, and it recognizes the importance of powerful coalitions over teams, the importance of a wide reach of support, and also who will win and who will lose in the organization as change occurs. The problem with this metaphor is that it is characterized by conflict rather than collaboration, and this can lead to political war zones in organizations. We can also view an organization as an organism. This has less preoccupation with orderliness than the machine and more attention given to adaptability and flexibility. Tasks and lines of authority can be changed in response to changes in the environment. This metaphor is considered survival, which can be achieved through communication, the belief in different ways of doing things, response to change due to external factors, and participation and psychological support. The problem with this metaphor is that not all organizations are completely adaptable. There are departments that function on their own in different ways. Therefore, functioning as a single unit is unrealistic. And finally, we have flux and transformation, which sees organizations as constantly changing and adapting to the environment they are in. This metaphor shows how change occurs in a world where nothing is constant. It sees organizations as simply a part of the whole system, and managers are also a pawn in that system. They cannot control the system. It focuses on how they self-organize, change, and self-renew in the face of confusion. This system allows employees greater creativity and flexibility in tasks, as there is less weight put on cause and effect, and it's believed that order will come out of chaos, right? The problem here is the ambiguity of it all. There's no set action plan, no guidelines that will help, the organization to move on. It, however, could be seen as more realistic than the previous metaphors. To conclude, organizational change is a difficult process to understand. There are even more models and approaches to this theory. However, for now, organizational change should be seen as an ongoing process. None of the metaphors on their own completely captures the nature of an organization. However, bringing them all together will allow us to gain a better perspective on how organizations function. Thank you.